Hello everybody. We are making a new deck and we are in Explore, and I decided I would make this little deck building kind of thing, and I would do a couple of things first so that it just didn't take quite so long, and I just explained my actions, and then we'd go on and do what I wanted to do. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to go into Strixhaven and examine that set some more and craft some cards and a strategy from Strixhaven. The one problem I had with Strixhaven is the colors I was going to use are red and black. And in Strixhaven's set, red and black do not have anything in the realm of board wipes. But I think that the stuff that I'm going to want to do is going to require more than single removal. So I went ahead and got my interaction first. And that's sort of a good deck building tip for you. You only have minus your 24 cards that are going to be lands from your 60. That leaves you with 36 cards. You can have 4 copies of each card, so 36 divided by 4 is 9. So an easy way to build your deck is just to chunk it into choosing 9 cards with which to focus on. And that's, an easier way if you're having a trouble going through like 20,000 cards of Magic the Gathering, right? You can just sort of set your own limits and say, okay, I'm gonna choose 9 that make sense, that work well together. And so what I usually tend to do is I start with my concept first, and I end up with 60 cards already, and then I realize I haven't made any interaction. So my opponent can really mess me up if I don't have any way to stop him from doing what he's trying to do. So I did the interaction first, and I chose white for that. So we've got 4 Banishing Slashes, and that's from Kamigawa. It's got enough flexibility so I can take on artifacts or enchantments, but if they're coming at me with all creatures, it can also destroy a tapped creature. I've got 1 to populate, 1 Doomscar, 1 Hour of Revelation, and 1 Vanquish the Horde, and those are 4 board wipes. So I count that as 1 chunk. So 1 chunk there in Banishing Slash makes another chunk, and I've got 4 Vanquish the Weak, that's from Zendikar, but it destroys target creature with power 3 or less, just because the meta always seems to be fast in any format. You always have to worry about getting knocked down on turn 4. So at least this way I can take care of somebody, right? By turn 3, I should have one of these that I should be able to do something against somebody. Okay, and if I end up using Banishing the Slash on too many creatures, and they turn out to be like a pure enchantment deck or something, I can break out Heliod's Intervention and destroy X number of artifacts and or enchantments. In the meantime, it also works for emergency life gain if I need life. Okay, so what do I want to do in Strixhaven? First of all, I choose the set : STX. STX is the shorthand version for Strixhaven. And I go in and I'm looking for Auric. He's always caught my attention. I only have 3 copies. I don't have a full collection of Strixhaven cards yet, but I do have... It's one of the sets I'm more familiar with because it was one of the ones that first came out after I joined Arena Online. So I do have most of it. I probably have like 85-86%, I want to say. But the Auric text says, search your library for a card, put it into your graveyard, and then shuffle. If it's an instant or sorcery card, put a +1/+1 counter on Auric Loremage. And the first glance, you're like, why would you want this card? Because black doesn't normally get to deal with instants and sorceries. They're always digging for creatures. That's what they get back. So I was thinking, okay, let me go look for some red stuff. And the converted mana value is going to be like greater than 3 because I want more expensive type of spells, right? And I was looking over in red, and I noticed Pillow Drop Warden. Pillow Drop Warden says you can sacrifice the Warden, return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand, activate only as a sorcery. So I'm thinking, bingo, I'm going to have a combo that finds a card that I want access to in the deck, but it's just not out right now, right? It's not in my hand, but I need it. But if Auric comes down, I can find it, throw it in my graveyard, and Pillow Drop Warden can put it right into my hand. So then I was also thinking, what if I didn't just want to do this roundabout way of getting it into my hand? What if it was okay to be in the graveyard and use in the graveyard? And so we have a Efreet Flame Painter. And when a Efreet Flame Painter deals combat damage, you can cast a target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. Bingo. I got 2 of those. I'm going to use those. Also, right next door is Draconic Intervention. You can exile an instant or sorcery card from your graveyard. It deals X damage to each non-dragon creature, where X is the exiled card's mana value. If a creature dealt damage this way would die, exile it instead. Well, I only have 2 of them, but if I take that, then if I had an instant, or like, say I used it to populate, its mana value is 4 for converted mana value. So then if I played Draconic Intervention later, and I could use it basically as another depopulate. Now the problem is that it does it to each creature, not just theirs. And Auric is not a dragon. So I do want some instants that are converted mana value 3 or less. So if I do have the Warden and or the Loremages out, they don't get defeated. And so that's part of why I chose a 3 mana instant spell for interaction and a 2 mana instant spell for interaction. If those happen to be the only ones that are in the graveyard when Draconic Intervention becomes worthwhile, then there we have it. Alright, what else do we want? I looked at Explosive Welcome. What if they have big creatures and I'm getting overrun and I don't have a regular board wipe, but I used Auric to get this in the graveyard? Well, that's 8 damage using Draconic Intervention. And if I don't have Draconic Intervention or I've used it, maybe I can use the Warden to bring it back up later when I have enough mana to summon it. So from that point on, then I'm thinking, okay, are there any dragons that I can have in this set? Dragon. Not really in the colors that I'm in, so I've got to be careful with that. But that's okay. The other thing that's really big in Strixhaven is the sideboard, and it would kind of be foolish if we didn't use it, right? So we want to check out the learn cards in our colors. And for red, we've got Igneous Inspiration, so I'm going to have at least one of those. I don't think I need to worry about these. Let's go check out black. Poet's Quill. I like Poet's Quill. It gives me another source of lifelink. And I like the eye twitches. And if I already have white, is there something in white that I want to do? Sparring Regiment is really tempting because I don't really have any enchantments. And on the off chance that I could use enchantments, those would come in really handy. Okay, so I'm already up to 60. But we can now go from the learn to the lesson and figure out what we want to put. We can have 7 cards on our sideboard. And what are we looking at here? I think Environmental Sciences is always a good one. These 4 basically, the 4 colorless are always good. And then if we have a Planeswalker that comes against us, it'd be good to have that on emergency standby. How about an Artifact Destruction? And it's kind of dealer's choice here. Let me just do Illuminate History. And we'll say that part is done. Now we have to go back in and we have to shake up our lands, which really I should have done first, but we want to be able to have some dual lands in here. So we do type lands, land, singular. All right, and we don't really necessarily need to restrict ourselves to Strixhaven with this. But if you don't save it and go done like I just did and you stay in there, every land that you select, it'll automatically balance out your deck for this. We're going to have to sort of do it manually real quick. But let's go in and look for everything's in the back for this, right? I kind of like these, unless you control 2 or more. And we can just narrow those down for our colors. 2 tapped, 2 more. And bingo. Okay, so we want a couple of the ones for red and white, and a couple of ones for black and white. And do I have any for... there we go. There's one for black and white. So we'll do that, and then I need... I need 2 Field of Runes. And let's go back to lands for Strixhaven. We've got the Snarls. So I'll take a Snarl there. I'll take 2 of those Snarls. We've got a Campus we can use to scry. We've got Access Tunnel, which helps you send somebody by unblocked, which would be great for Ifrit Flame Painter. We've got Archway Commons, which you can use to choose any color. And the Biblioplex. You can look at the library. If it's an instant or sorcery card, you can reveal it and put it in your hand. If you don't put the card in your hand, you may put it into your graveyard. It can only work if you have exactly 0 or 7 cards in your hand, but let's go ahead and use that. Let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 16, 19, 20, 23. So I think I hit delete on too many cards. So let's put a swamp back. And we double check, and we have 24 lands, 3.8 mana cost, which is kind of high, but that's because we have like 4 explosive welcomes, which should be easier for us to handle actually. So all we need now is the name of a deck. So since we're looking at Pillar Drop Warden and Auric Loremage, let's call it the Loremage Warden. It's either that or Warden or Loremage. Alright, and we'll go ahead and throw Auric up there to be the cover, the face of the deck. And presto, we've got our deck. So we're going to go in and we're going to play I'm in the wrong place. I think I was doing the Tuesday thing. Yep, sorry. We're not here for this. We want to go play and explore for a minute. You can get a free win. Be happy. Okay, go home. Go to play. Go up here. Any day now. And explore. Thank you. Alright, so we took care of our lands. We did our sideboard. We made sure we had interaction. We looked through the cards to make sure that they worked well together. We had a concept, an idea of what we wanted to do. And we considered in our interaction, we considered all the threats. Creatures removal, artifacts, enchantments. About the only thing that we didn't have protection against was kind of instants and sorceries. But you can only have 60 cards on a deck. So let's just see what happens. Thoughtseize. What do they consider to be a threat? It's not really obvious, is it? They choose the Poet's Quill out of everything. Discard a card. We're kind of stuck, aren't we? We didn't get a good land deal there. Well, let's get rid of that. Ugh, now I'm hoping for discard. And we missed our land. We missed 2 land drops now. Against just pure discard. This is just a little ridiculous at this point. Here, you can look at the Flame Painter. Seriously?
Seize the day, my minions.
This is kind of not fair. Magic just decided we weren't going to have any lands
my way.
at all. There. Oh, we finally got a land. So conveniently after they'd made good on every discard card they had.
I have no interest in fighting fair.
Look, I can't even use that. Okay, we're done. Let's try and see if Magic will be rational this time and actually give us a land within the first couple of turns. It's kind of hard to know when you're starting out and they give you your 2 lands if you're going to be messed with the lands or if it's going to be like a regular kind of draw percentage. But you notice they don't have the little faces pop up anymore to ask you if you were having fun in the match or not. Alright, that's a little bit better. It's not necessarily an automatic forced loss this time. Land rampy type of people. They seem to be firing off with no problems, right? Let's go ahead and get rid of their Triome. And we will take something that powers up our removal. There was one thing I forgot about the deck, and that's another way to get things into our graveyard. So I think I need to risk going to 62 cards. We'll go grab 1 extra land and 1 spell that allows us to draw and discard. And maybe we'll remove 1 or 2 pieces of interaction to allow that. Okay, they're going to get a token, right? So let's just get rid of that thing now. And they've managed to get 7 lands out to R3. So we're still not doing really well in the land area. Make that 8-3. Ooh, they're tapping individually. We can play a card! That's so awesome. Looks like we're facing artifacts and enchantments entirely, aren't we? And we just used one of our best cards. But you know what? That is an instant. We could maybe get it back with Pillar Drop later. Yeah, he dropped those all during my turn. He's more active during my turn than I am. Cavalier of Gales. I don't have one of those myself, but it's a lovely looking card. We're going to keep Eye Twitch as a blocker. A second mirror box. And a Rune Crab. Interesting choices. Did not want to attack me. It's got a lot of ramp. Biblioplex. Okay. Alright. A third mirror box out of all of those cards, and he tripled out on the mirror boxes. Interesting. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7. So let's go ahead and look. Decline. Next. No attacks. In the turn. Oh, don't have a land. You little puke. Well, we're not going to keep any of those around. And we'll take Environmental Sciences, and we'll get rid of Explosive Welcome since we can't cast it. 4, 5, 6, 7, that's 8. Okay, so let's go get a mountain finally. And then we'll go take a look at what we got. Okay, we'll keep that on top, and we'll throw an Eye Twitch down. And he already does he have 4 copies of Cavalier Gale in his hands, or is that the same one that he just lost? Hey, look, we're doing the same thing again. Okay, let's try and do something. He doesn't like my Pillar Drop Warden. Imagine that. Do you like a depopulate? want to do? I feel like we need that. Let's do another pillar drop warden. Let's sacrifice pillar drop warden. Let's go get Helliod's intervention. He's sacrificing stuff now. Make you nervous? And 4, right? 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. Ta-da! And now we don't really need to discard anything. Go away. Nothing. He's got to have tons of removal by now, right? Aha. Second one of Mythos. We don't care about Risen Reef. We've got an explosive welcome in our graveyard. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's check the Biblioplex. Land. We will keep the land. Not gonna mutate it. You lost all your stuff. We may run out of cards and ammo before he does, though. Okay, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. Let's do that. Let's go ahead and check. That's a creature we don't want to put in our graveyard. Let's put out Flame Painter. No interactions, just a bunch of lands now. Well, this is where the fun starts then. What do we want to do? How about environmental sciences? What else do we want to do? How about Explosive Welcome? Five points of damage. Put down the mountain and the turn. Oh no. Whew. That would have hurt. Too bad it's tapped. Biblioplex. Let me see what we got coming up. Ooh, not going into my graveyard. However, the swamp is. Do we want to get anything from out of here? Oh yeah, Banishing Slash. And nothing else for now. I can just decline, right? There we go. Healer of the Glade. Okay. We check our Biblioplex. Let's land. We'll take the land. Instead, we put down Sparring Regimen. We go get Expanded Anatomy. We use Expanded Anatomy. We go and attack. We've got a 4/4 double striker now. It's great to be alive. Ooh, Phylath. Phylath is cool. Except, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so we check the Biblioplex. We reveal it. We use Draconic Intervention. We get rid of something that costs 5. This one. His people did 5 points of damage. We deal 5 points of damage. Decline it. 5 more points of damage. Decline it. And he's had enough. And when we get lands, the deck actually works. The concept actually works. So let's go in and look at the deck one more time before we do one more battle. And we'll just kind of go over what we did one more time. Okay, so we didn't get overwhelmed by all the cards. We chose a set. We chose Strixhaven. We decided to look through for concepts. We found a card that intrigued us. We wondered how to make it work. I don't see it normally being used anywhere else. I mean, I just don't normally come across it whenever I battle anybody on the online arena. We went to Explore just because it's a little more closed than Historic. Historic's a little more wide open, right? And then we just sort of, fixed up all our lands once we were done to make sure we had a good mix so that we could get the colors that we needed when we needed them. I'm not sure if this is the perfect mix of lands. We might have a couple too many basic lands, but, for the most part, it's working as long as we don't just draw 2 lands and then get nothing for 4 or 5 turns. The rinse and repeat effect of the deck allows us to get a lot more value out of the cards. You saw we used Heliod's Intervention early just to take out one piece. And then we're like, oh, you know what? Let's get rid of Pillar Drop Warden and get that back because he's got so many different things out. And we just eliminated everybody by reusing Heliod's Intervention. So just having Pillar Drop Warden in the deck and making sure the deck had a lot of interactive elements was really essential. It was really instrumental for the success there. And he was kind of a second thought, right? The first thought was just to get him in the graveyard in the first place. And then we were going to use Flame Painter to use them. But we can't always be guaranteed that we're going to hit and connect to the opponent with Flame Painter. So it was good to have a backup plan. So Loremage plus Flame Painter plus Warden makes for a very good combination. And you notice we don't really have a lot of other creatures, right? We've got 4 Eye Twitches, mostly just to get into our sideboard so we can get more instants and sorceries. So you go and look and we have 13 creatures, not a lot, but we do have 20 instants and sorceries, which is kind of heavy. And that works for what we're trying to do here, right? Because our creatures, they work and interact with instants and sorceries, all 3 of them. So it makes sense. And then the only thing that we really have that isn't an instant or sorcery is the Sparring Regimen, which again gets us into the sideboard and gets us at the rest of the instants and sorceries. And we have 1 Poet's Quill for lifelink. And that also gets us into the sideboard. So the whole deck, you notice it synergizes kind of well, right? We take advantage of focusing in on a set. The unique advantage, the unique aspect of Strixhaven was allowing this big sideboard. So we maximized the use of the learn cards so that we could basically get into the sideboard whenever we wanted to. We didn't ignore the mana curve. We got 1-drops to use as chump bait. We got some 2-drops, right, for interaction. So we have something to do in case they've got enchantments or artifacts sitting around and we don't have anything better to cast on our second turn. We did have some stuff we could do with 3-drops, although it kind of depends on what the opponent has out. And then the rest we're just basically trying to get to 4 lands so we can put our strategy into place. And that's it. Let's go back in and play another round. We're 50-50. We probably wouldn't do well against a Storm deck or something like that. But, you know, we do have ways to deal with enchantments, so maybe we would be good. The big thing is, and here's some of the big deck building tips, right? Always build in defense against flyers. So we've got our 4 1-mana chump blockers against flyers, and the Pillar Drop Wardens all have reach. So that's 8 creatures that can defend against flyers, at least to a certain degree. And you need to include at least one thing that you can do against enchantments and artifacts. And that led us to the color white just because red has a big weakness against enchantments. They can take out artifacts, but not enchantments. And black has a problem really with artifacts. There's the Swarm card that gets rid of enchantments. There's a couple of cards that black has access now that gets rid of enchantments. But white is really better at getting both of them at once. So I didn't want to go and be just pure red and black and have black stuff the black with all the cards that I use for white. I would end up stuffing them with things to do with enchantments, and the red cards would deal with artifacts, and then we wouldn't have any board wipes, and the quick aggro decks would just completely destroy us. And we didn't get our land drop. And that's a little too soon after the first time we got screwed out of land. I didn't go back in and get that discard card that I mentioned, right? I forgot. This just looks like the Hadi Jin deck. And maybe the Tolarian monster. And I'm going to die if I don't get a land. That's all there is to it. You don't get the land, you're done for. I got a land. There's a chance, a small chance I could survive this and get through this. Although when you're playing against blue control, I mean, if it does Hadi... Oh, no, it's not Hadi Jin. Okay, we may still be in trouble, but... 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I guess we're going to do this. Wow, they're spending a long time thinking. That's what happens with blue players. There's only one creature on each side. It's not that difficult. Maybe it's just they have so many cards they can play. They're just paralyzed by all the decisions they could make. He didn't wait to see if I was going to block. Let's go get environmental sciences. Let's use Vanquish the Weak. We have to discard a card. We wanted Explosive Welcome into the graveyard anyway. Now it's there in case we get Flame Painter out later. Or it's there for Pillar Drop Warden to bring back when we have enough mana. Another Festival Crasher. How sweet. Do you have enough instants to save it? Oh, you lost another creature. I'm so sorry. It's easy to talk trash when they can't hear you. If Arena ever gets more interactive to where we can talk to our opponents, my language would probably change. It would probably be much more polite. But here it's sort of like being in a car. You know, if somebody cuts you off on the freeway, as long as you're not just gesticulating too much, you can't really tell what's going on. Okay, let's just depopulate those guys. That will actually minimize the total damage they'll do to me over the course of the game. And I need to get my Poet's Quill out and get some life gain. He keeps introducing so many threats I can't use my environmental sciences to go get a red mana. But you know what, he's got to run dry sometime, right? Because we got rid of his Festival Crashers, and most things are geared towards pumping them up. Maybe he'll use a Cathartic Pyre on my eye twitch. Now there's nothing on the board. What are you deciding about now? You can use your Arcane Infusion. And the enemy's got 7 lands and I've got 4. That usually spells trouble when you get this far into the game. We're at the middle game now. He's already gone through the first third of his deck. But you know, there's a lot of decks that I make without enough necessary interaction, and these Festival Crashes would have done 10-15 points of damage to me, so just by the way I constructed, by doing the interaction first and putting that into the deck, deciding what color was going to be my interaction, deciding where the weaknesses were that I had to counter for, it worked. I'm liking this. Do you have a counterspell? Or are you just holding up priority with the Arcane Infusion because you can cast it? Come on. Thank you. We have our land, Houston. We also have our eye twitch. If you kill it, I'm going to go get something good. I promise. Yeah, kill it. Do it. Do it. you can still cast both of those spells right now. Oh, Memory Deluge. Or you can cast the other spell. Okay. Sometimes you just gotta wait for blue to do their thing. Maybe if we get the online arena to have a dedicated, like, button to press for a YouTube forum. So, like, instead of choosing Historic or Explorer, we choose YouTube, and that way they know that there are content creators that are taping things. Maybe we could have 2 YouTube stations. One for the pure control players, who take forever, and one for all the rest of us. Dollar drop Warden. They really have to think about everything, don't they? They let it go. They let it go. They let it go. I've got to try and make sure they don't get my health down to below 6. Because then there's just all the damage to the face spells. Festival Crasher, Electric Revelation. They've got lots of ways to sort through their deck. If they were smart, they'd attack now and wait and use another instant later to pump up the Skrillex in case I blocked it. Now, if they don't kill the eye twitch, I'm definitely going to block it. If they do kill the eye twitch, I might still block it. 6 points of damage isn't nothing to sneeze at. Now I go get something good. What do I want that's good? Let's do that. Oh, you're tapped out. I do like that. Uh-oh. They got a reservoir. Okay. Let's do our plan anyway. Put 2 counters on you. We'll attack with you. He chump blocks. I like that. But now there's 2 attackers to 1 defender. And I'm going to be feeling the pressure. Any instant or sorcery charges that up. And I don't have any removal yet for it. And they have a lot of land. And they are waiting. His power goes up, but nothing else. You can cast any of those instants you want. All it's going to do is increase his power. Which means he's gone. And... are you an artifact? You're an artifact. Look what I just got. Next, Sparring Regimen. And let's go get Introduction to Annihilation. And if I do this and attack now, he'll turn into a 4/8. What can he do? Maybe 2 of those? So he'll turn into a 6/4? I should be able to survive this, or at worst, we take each other out, which is good because I have a little bench of 3 other creatures waiting. The land differential is now 9-7. He's been using his search stuff to send his land to the bottom, and he's halfway through his deck already. Which means about half of the cards in his deck are lands. So he's searching for an answer, because he did not expect to face a 4/8 creature with reach. He might be thinking that somehow Magic found a deck very decisively calculated to defeat his. Ooh, that's a lot of ammo. That's a lot of ammo. Is any of it enough to kill my guy? I don't think so. Well, if he uses the 2 considers and 1 other spell, that would pump him up. Oh, he does Vadric instead. That's not going to be enough. That's not going to be enough now. You can't attack. And you know I have Introduction to Annihilation. If I get 1 more land, I'm also taking out the guy's Flame Reservoir. Oh, I'm so sorry. I know I should have attacked first. But you can't use a counterspell even if you have one hidden now because of Lear. I'll trade 1 creature for 3. I'm kind of liking how my deck's working out right now. Yeah, by all means, pump up your guy while he's got summoning sickness and can't attack me. That's great. Thank you. You go away. If you have a way to counter it, I force you to use it now, and you pump him up again. No, didn't work. And now we get rid of this annoying artifact, so you can't threaten me with it anymore. You can actually charge it now and hit me for 2 points of damage, but that's preferable to any other thing that might happen. Oh, he's going to exile instead. Okay. And what can you do with that? Nothing. You wasted the spell. You wasted your spell. Yeah, that's an enchantment. That's not a creature. And it's not an artifact. So you lost your Abrade. No, wait, it stays, doesn't it? It stays. Let's see, blah, blah, blah. Exile, you may play that card this turn. It's going to go away. Now we're cooking with gas. Bring it. Chump blocker. and somebody to go on the offense. I dare you to attack me. Flame Painter with the Sparring Regiment on the field? Oh. We are going to be having so much fun now. So much fun. And the nice little combo here between these three is really anything that I want to throw in the graveyard now for Flame Painter to use, I can. I can throw anything in the graveyard. And then anything that I might want to bring out of the graveyard, I can. Life is good. Yes, attack me with a 6/4, please. Oh, absolutely. Very good. Thank you for tapping. I will gladly chump block with the guy that's only there so I can get into my sideboard. I'm going to run out of sideboard cards. I don't think he has any Planeswalkers. Maybe I should put in a Planeswalker just so I can use that card. An explosive welcome. Hello, sports fans. Do I have enough for that? I do. Because we've lasted long enough in the game to get 8 mana finally. And he's got to feel like... He's got to feel terrible. He's got to feel like there's a conspiracy against him, that nothing he ever does will ever work. Actually, he can save the Spellroom Painter. Maybe I should have attacked with a free first. So he's going to draw 2. His card. Oh, he was holding on to lands. That's still mostly lands that are left. Next, we attack. Because I'm going to deal 4 points of damage, so even if you do pump him up twice more... Oh, I'm so sorry. That was the wrong thing to do. And is there anything else that we want to do? Here. Let's do even more damage in the space between our attacks. Oh no, that was a second strike. Okay. Seize the Storm! 1616. Is there anything in my... Oh, I have an Introduction to Annihilation. I would need to get through it. Let's see. Let's see. How do I want to do that? I can't get through that way. So... that would be 8. So let's put that one down. Let's put that one down. Would have been nice if I had access tunnel. And we're going to have to resort to some chump blockers. And Seize the Storm is usually the card that kills me, I must admit. Don't kill the Loremage. Now you have to... Oh, he's got Trample too. He's finally gotten me. No, if I do that, I can do 10. No. Oh, shoot. I'm in so much trouble now. After it was going so well, he's got 8 cards left in his entire deck, and he finally gets the one thing that's going to get me. And I'm down to 10. I have to jump with both of those, don't I? Oh, no. I think I'm just dead. So close. So maybe Illuminate History wasn't the best card for that. Alright, but that's how we learn. Seize the Storm. That card really gets me every time. So, let's go into the deck. We're going to play one more round after this. We're going to adjust it part of the way I want it to. If the server will work. There we go. Okay. If we go back to Strixhaven and we keep it with those cards, we want a discard and draw effect. And really? There's nothing in the colors that we want? Okay, so let's get out of Strixhaven then, because we are an Explorer. There's no need to unnecessarily restrict us that bad. And let's go into red. And we should be able to use maybe just Cathartic Reunion? No, that's discard 2 and draw 3. We'll just use Electric Revelation because it has flashback. Okay, we're going to add one more land. So let's do a dual land. Let's go tapped. Maybe one of the ones that we can sacrifice to draw a card with. Or a Triome. Okay, then we go into the sideboard. We get rid of Illuminate History and we get a second Introduction to Annihilation. And we try again. That red-blue deck has just enough filtering mechanisms to draw through down to the bottom of their deck that they can eventually get everything useful out. It's going to be Attack of the Eyebats. First blood is mine. That means we're going to win, right? Oh, I have a standard size deck. Sparring Regiment. We'll go get Environmental Sciences because we need other colors. And we'll attack with one and pump it up and keep the other as a chump blocker. Actually, we could just chump block with the other one, get rid of both of them. What do we want to do? I think we need to get some red. And I like the idea of making my one guy bigger. Sounds dirty, but it's not. We're just talking about a game. Oh no. He has a city's blessing? You're a little... Okay, so this guy has to go away now. 3, 4, 5. I guess we'll put that puppy up. We have to attack with this guy. And then we're going to pump the other one up. And we're going to use a Draconic Intervention for perhaps 3. Or perhaps 2. Next turn I could punch him up after the attack, and all he's got is 2s for toughness. Will it stay that way? We do have Introduction for Annihilation for something tougher. The only thing we have to worry about is Hexproof. And he's not trying to bum rush us, for which we thank you. But I don't think you're going to like me much. Let's see if they rage quit after this. Get rid of... No, not you. You. That's all we need. And everybody got exiled. Because that's the way Draconic Intervention works. And that's game. Oops. Doom Duelist. Okay, well, you met your Doom Duelist. Well, that was more fun than I thought it would be. Ooh, and we got Mastery. Okay, let's go ahead and go in and fill in some Masteries. While we're here, just to entertain people. Mastery Tree. It is starting to be, it's after Thanksgiving my time. So this is sort of like putting the bulbs on the Christmas tree. It's time to do some decorations. Ashnod's Harvester little sleeve. Alternate art, rather. What else do we want to get? The game is freezing. Sure, command sleeve. That's our new default. And Ashnod Flesh Mechanist, which I have 1 or 2 of those already. And with that, we're filling in our Mastery Tree. 'Tis the beginning of the Christmas season, around my time. At the time of this posting. Or at least at the time of the recording. We'll see how long it takes me to post it. And then we just want to go into the Loremage Warden deck and show it to you. Go over the deck building 101 tips again. Tip number 1, always build in defense against flyers, because that's an evasion type tactic, and you've got to be prepared for that. Always have at least one thing you can do to counter enchantments and artifacts. Excuse me. If you have a sideboard, use your sideboard fully. Make sure that you do have interaction, so that if they have a creature that has a devastating effect on you, and they never attack with it, so you never have a way to put a creature in its way and destroy it, you still have a way to remove that creature. And then make sure that you let the automated system take care of sorting your lands for you until you're ready at the end of all of your adjustments, and then go switch out the lands for the dual lands and the specialty lands and that sort of thing. One thing we didn't use snow lands, so if you are going to use a snow card, check to make sure you have enough snow card. There's your bonus tip. Alright, and then the other big deck building tip is, if you're like me and you start in with concepts like these, and if I'd stayed in Strixhaven and looked through red and black, I would have found more cards that worked. But actually, because we're chunking with groups of 4, and I have to do less because I don't have 4 Flame Painter and I don't have 4 copies of Loremage, so it gives me a little bit extra flexibility. But if we were chunking for 4, you know, here's a third of our deck right here is three sets of creatures. So if we had a full 4, that would be 4, 8, 12. And then we would just have 4 other cards to choose. Well, let's see, 3. No, we did 9. We chunked for 9 cards total if we have 4 of each. So we'd have 3 sets of creatures. You might have normally 3 other sets of creatures, so that you could have around 24 creatures, and then you'd have your final set to just figure out interaction or anything to support that. And it turns out that this trifecta actually worked really well in terms of just surrounding the rest of it with instants and sorceries that I could manipulate to my heart's content as I needed, like a Swiss Army knife, just to get extra value out of all of them. If I wanted it in the graveyard, I could put it in the graveyard. If I wanted it out of the graveyard, I could take it out of the graveyard. If it was in the graveyard, I could use it to some really devastating effect. If it wasn't going to be any good there, I had a way to get it out and use it by the time I had enough mana to cast everything. So really a beautiful piece of work. We found a way to take Loremage and make him work that we don't normally see people using him. When's the last time you saw a pillar drop Warden used in a battle? That type of stuff. It's fun stuff here. Anyway, let me know if you have any questions about my thinking process or the deck construction or anything else you want to know about deck building. Remember to like and subscribe, and we'll leave it there. Thanks for joining me, guys. Have a good one.